My name is Beth Chrisman. I am a Maryland pilot. I pilot ships on the Chesapeake Bay. Our day-to-day operations, we have quite a variety of things that we do as pilots. We can take a long trip, which is up and down the Chesapeake Bay, 150 miles. Shorter trip, maybe through the C&D Canal, which is 50 miles. Or we can be doing harbor work, transferring ships between berths, or shifting from Annapolis, Anchorage up to Baltimore. So those are the types of assignments we'll see throughout our day. Probably, like most pilot, is preparing for your first assignment and getting in the rotation. So, you want to make sure you're well rested, that your equipment is all up to date for your PPU, of course, and some of those things. So that's what, some of the challenges we have now. As far as challenges when you're piloting, obviously we're always looking at weather, tides and currents, some of the things that we're going to encounter on our voyage. So we'll plan for those in advance if there's any problems. How do I envision pilotage in the future? I'm nearing retirement, so I'm not thinking probably as much about that as I used to. However, I think with AI, there's a lot of things that can enhance our work, and there can be a lot of things that can trip us up. So we're going to have to navigate that very carefully and make sure we really enhance those things that are going to help us. As I've always said, these technologies make good pilots better and bad pilots worse. We like to think there's no bad pilots, so. But you really have to use the technology correctly and the way it's intended to be used. This class, this master class, is there any specific practices that I think will address these challenges? Yes, absolutely. I've already mentioned a couple. Just properly using technology, number one. We look out the window to validate what we're seeing on our PPU, right? And that's one of the most important lessons, because you can be tricked by technology and some of these things that we see coming down the pike. So again, I think those are our challenges, is just validating this information coming up. Eventually we'll see an unmanned vessel show up on our shores in the United States or any country. And how are we as pilots going to be involved with that process? That'll be interesting. Is that going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years? I don't think so, but it is going to happen at some point. So we'll have to, really be on the ball, how we're going to be involved, be part of the solution instead of part of the problem, right? So I think that's what excites me the most for those of you guys that are going to be carrying all this forward while I'm enjoying my retirement. Hopefully I'll be a little involved in the next few years, but after that, it's up to younger, smarter minds than mine. So that's it for me.